So welcome everyone. We continue in our course comparing public and private expenditure. We see the different benefits, advantages of this percentage of different ones. We have seen so far how the public sector get to finance the expenditure. Do you remember, guys, how the public sector get money to invest? How? Taxation. What else? Borrow from state-owned companies, taxation, and privatization. So this is how the money, and then they reinvest this money in our society, in theory, in order to finance the cost with different purpose to improve society, and reduce huge differences in inequality. But we're going to compare public-private expenditure. So which one is better when we talk about allocation of resources? We're talking here about efficiency. Which one is able to produce in a higher scale, better quality products, low price, huge availability of products, a wide range of products, good quality, good price, products that are desired by society. So therefore, it means products that are highly regarded and demanded. Which one is better to produce this kind of products and services? Here is like households, it's good to do that. Is it firms? We see government. Well, this answer is quite polemic and debatable. There are many people from one part of the world will state that the best one organizing and ordering resources will be the state, because the state is going to take into consideration the society as a whole needs. So it means they will take care, parts of the population don't have access to school, so they will put a school in a place which is quite marginated from society, isolated, with low-income households, regardless if it's efficient or is profitable for the company, for the government. They will take this into consideration regardless the amount of money they have to invest. Some of the people will argue, well, the government shouldn't take part into the economy. You should leave the markets to work alone. And then, by different individuals, companies and firms seeking for their own interest, for make benefit, to make money out of it, they will unavoidably will be leading in a situation where they will be good to do it, like high profit, efficient, and low cost products, and they will be. Otherwise, if you're not good producing a product, you will be expelled by the market. So you will go bankrupt. And then the good companies, they will remain, the ones whose products are highly demanded. So, but it's not easy answer. Which is better, government, public, or private expenditure? Is the individuals who used to go and invest in companies, either it's a hospital or a school, or you want to open a park? Or is the government who should take place and say no? Everything which is transport, defense, for example, defense of the country, security, national security, should be financed by the state. No private companies seeking for their own interest. There is no easy answer. Well, in both there is advantages and disadvantages. What I'm trying to do here is a resume, which is the most important. We are going to analyze advantages of these disadvantages. I'm going to say government expenditure is better than private expenditure. Which sector should be financed? It's up to you to build your own opinion. In opinion, I think it depends on the context, how developed is the society, which kind of good you want to profit. So it should be, I think, in my opinion, in some sectors, the government should be involved. The problem is to determine the scale it should be involved. Because if it's quite involved in some sectors, you make a company inefficient. If the government is not have a field of expertise in what they are doing, you can go to a situation where the government is creating products that are not demanded by anyone, very costly, with a high cost of production, and this cost of opportunity of these resources spent by the government will go to somewhere else where they are good to do it. So it depends. The government depends. Anyway, let's take the situation of as the so we don't know allocation. Where is better, public or private? The book gives you there is an example, right? Which is airport to be built. We have an airport, okay? Like Chiang Mai to be built. Let's imagine an airport, okay? But who says an airport could be a school, could be a healthcare center, a hospital, could be a residency for all people. In any case, we have airport to be built. So we're gonna see, so if it's private expenditure, so let's say private finance, what does it mean private finance, guys? That's important. Hello, is this a question? What does it mean that the airport to be built, it will be private financed? What does it mean? Rachel, what does it mean private finance? If we say the airport to be built, and we're talking about public-private expenditure, private finance, obviously we're talking about public expenditure. Private finance, we're talking about private expenditure. So we are talking about who is building the airport? Household, firms, or government? Who? Why households? So you are able to build an airport now if you want? No. Okay, guys. Please tell me that you understand the difference between public and private expenditure. What is public expenditure? Someone please let me know now. You. Private expenditure.
Private.
Yeah. Private.
Private investor.
Yeah, who is these people? How are called these people?
People.
Yeah, people, you? Your mom? Your father? Who is these people building? Guys, come on. Private expenditure, you? Guys, I told you 100 times, names on the table. Rachel, thank you for your name. Please do the same. Don't throw the paper, you have to do it again. Name on the table, name on the table, name on the table. I want an answer for private. This is so. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you understand nothing. Nothing. I'm talking to the air. Guys, public-private expenditure. Rachel, here. I want someone telling me what is this. If not, I will make an exam next week, and then one will fail. I will report to Rick. I'm not making exams. I'm not sending you homeworks. But if you don't pay attention, I will come here. 30 minutes, you make an exam. I correct, I do nothing, and then at the end of the course, you pass or you don't pass. I think it's quite clear. So use your own words. Rachel, private expenditure.
Private expenditure by individuals.
But how are called these individuals? If you spend money to make a company, what's your name? What you are? You are what? What's your job? Entrepreneurs, firms, companies. What is public expenditure? Mom, public expenditure. You, I don't know your name. What's your name?
Marco.
No, you.
Marco.
Marco. Go, take it. Next time, the one who doesn't bring your name, I report to Rick. When I say something, it's to do it. I don't want to be like you. Okay? Your name, what is your name on the table? Go. Private finance, then is finance who places the money. Okay, thank you. Someone is able to speak here. Private finance is by people, entrepreneurs who put their own money. So the entrepreneurs, they are going to look for their own sake or the sakes of the society. Say again? For their own sake, their private interest. if I created iPhones, of course I want to build iPhones who are sold to people. But ultimately, what I want to do is selling iPhones because I make money out of it and I make a living. And of course, it's in my own interest to do good iPhones because they will be sold. If not, nobody will buy them. So they are looking for an airport which will be used, private finance. Now, private finance companies, okay? Private finance, airport or any company, everything which is spent by individuals' money, entrepreneur money, private entrepreneur, linked. Entrepreneur, private. It will be, as an advantage, will be private benefit as incentive for quality and low-cost products. So, one private finance, with the advantage we have with private finance, with you guys, Marco, become entrepreneur, he has money, he has a lot of money, he doesn't know what to do with the money, and he creates an airport, because he's going to get money from air companies, flight companies, who are going to pay him money to use their installations, their premises, so he gets a benefit. Marco does because get money from, when he builds an airport, he pays, it's an investment, and you get it. After a few years, you get the money back plus the benefits. The advantage is that Marco, he built this airport looking for his own private benefit. Once again, private means one person, his own benefit, as incentive for quality and low-cost output. It means that because he's looking for his own benefit, it's in his own interest to create an airport which is good quality and low-cost output. It means a flight which is cheap to get there, is good in, is placed in a good part of the city. There are many companies going there. From this airport, you can fly as many destinations as possible. So Marco's goal is to attract people to the airport. Because if no people go to Marco's airport, Marco's lose money, the airport close, and you go bankrupt. Right, Marco? So if you create an airport, you want an airport with people or without people? With people. Why? From where? Who pays you the money for the airport? Not directly, it will be the flight companies. Because you go Air Asia and I say, Marco, I see that you have an airport in Chiang Mai. Beautiful airport, well located, good technology, you have internet in your airport. I think it's quite good for our business. And many people in Chiang Mai want to go to Hong Kong. What about if we use your airport, Air Asia, and we pay you money? Marco say, yeah, go ahead. Use my airport. So, if you want to create an airport as an individual, what you will be seeking in the airport, what you want to do in the airport. Remember that when we are in a free market, where private companies make companies, there is competition. So you have to be the best in what you produce and what you sell. If not, you will lose the clients and then you will go bankrupt because nobody will buy your stuff. In this case, nobody will use your airport. So how will you make people use your airport? Give me ideas, Marco. Okay, for example, I want to take a flight. I will say I have 3 airports in Chiang Mai, imagine. I will take, and I have the choice to use one airport. I will choose the one who has, and I have flights going from, departing from every single airport in my city. I will choose the one that I like the most. So I will like the airport, I don't know you, but if it has internet, for example. If it's big enough, important location. If I want to take a flight to Hong Kong and the airport is not in Chiang Mai, but I have to go to Changdao to take the flight, it's inefficient. It's not good for business. It's not good quality product. It makes people spend money. So in this context, quality, low cost. And also I will go to the airport who has more flights available, low cost companies who offers good price for the flights. When you buy a flight, I will go internet and I see those ones who are cheap, good located, going from this city. So you want those one, because me, I will be taking a flight which is cheap. So you want your airport has operation between cities and cheap price. When you talk about private benefit, you have to care about how good is your product. Because in private benefit, when you do for your own sake, we presume we are in a market economy. Therefore, in order to succeed in just business and don't go bankrupt, you have to offer something which is highly desired by people, which you will respond correctly to demand of people. In this sense, or in this context, we're talking about we're offering a service of good quality and low cost. Do you understand the concept, guys? Yes or no, please? What is the disadvantage? Of private investment, private expenditure, people, individuals, independently working to go on for their own sake and do their own business, was the disadvantage. You remember the risks of the markets, what happened in the market sometimes? If one guy is quite powerful in the market, one supplier, what he can do? Say again, Mom? Higher? Exactly. Monopoly, oligopoly. He can just underprice their products at very, very low levels to dump the competition, to put away the competition of the market until they go bankrupt. Because they are powerful. Oligopoly, they can just find some partnership with companies to go into deal to sell to the same price. A few companies who are powerful, like it happened in 1971 with the petrol crisis. Different countries with big packed price for the petrol. So monopoly, and then this is against quality and low cost. So at the beginning you have companies in competition. So there is 5 airports in London, 3 in Paris. Let's imagine that. It's much less. In airport, maybe this is not a good example because airport is difficult to build, so there are not a lot of supply. But many cities has 3 or 4 airports, and they are fighting, struggling each other to get customers, to get passengers. So the one who get without no passengers, the one have to close first. But in the real life with airports doesn't happen because always there are not enough airports actually. So what happened with these few airports working together, you are going to try the powerful one who is attracting more customers, more passengers, is going to try to get the whole market quote by putting prices very low, by backing. Anyway. You can call it monopoly risk. Therefore, high price So we have actually 2 of them. Monopoly risk, which is going to result in a high-priced service or product, which is beyond what many people can afford, maybe. So not many passengers will go to this airport, but just those 1 or few village who are able to pay for the flight or to go from there. Normally this not happen in the real life because the competition is not in the airports, but in the flight companies. There are way so many. But in general, for any kind of private company, when there is competition, it's quite developed sector and there are many companies already operating. If one becomes very powerful, which is difficult actually to pass from a situation of few fully competition where there are like 100 companies, it's quite difficult that one will be managed to create a monopoly. It's almost impossible. You don't have that power to create a monopoly. You are not that good. Even if you are the best one among the 100 companies, the other ones can fight between themselves and reduce prices. So mostly when you have it in free markets, there are many companies and each one of them, they have their own market. And some of them, they create niche market, specialize in one sector. Anyway, if this happens, monopoly, but monopolies usually are issued by the state because they give some concessions, some right of exploitation of certain resource like petrol. So just this company can make it. So make it more difficult for other companies to join the business. So I quite agree with this one. If we're talking about private finance in a free market, this situation is difficult. But it could happen when there is monopoly. But this one is true. Not interested in social cost. Do you remember more or less with your own words what does it mean social cost? Daniel? Social cost. Social cost is the cost supported not by the private person, by the individual, by society. Examples, if I'm producing certain soap or certain washing machine liquid next to a river and I poison the river and then I poison the fish is dead, then that's the social cost, is the fish we lose that the society cannot eat, increasing the price of fish, for example. Or when you are creating a company which is making cars, the pollution, the air, polluting the atmosphere, or which is increasing the already quite developed issue, quite advanced issue of global warming. So if the social cost is for everyone, it's my activity, is making other people's life worse, at some extent. Okay? So, in resume, private people, you guys, we have money, no government, are able to private expenditure. You look for your own benefit, to make money of the company, to pay yourself a paycheck at the end of the month, right? So advantage is that you look for private benefit. So if you look for private benefit because you are quite afraid or scared of losing the business, go bankrupt and in debt, you will do your best to create a lot of products or services which is a good quality and low cost. So people will buy your stuff. So you will make a living. So it's in your own interest to create something which is demanded and desired by people. However, the state doesn't have to create something which is highly desired by the people. Because the government is able to manipulate law, for example, or to create laws which granted a single right of exploitations for themselves, or they can challenge people to enter the market by creating obstacles for the companies. And also the government they work with the tax money. So they have higher resources than you guys as individuals. The disadvantage is monopoly, high price, and social cost. So we have seen private finance. So right now comes what? Rachel? So we have seen the advantages and disadvantages of private finance companies. So now we have to see what? What's the next point? Private or government finance or public finance. Okay? Government, public, same. Okay? This one. So we go to public. Okay, I will put government. It's easy for you to understand. So now we have government finance, guys. Companies, advantage. And government financed companies, disadvantages. So, here we go. Government finance, advantages of the government. Okay, we'll go first with the disadvantages. So if we show that private companies are efficient, what is the problem of the government companies? Again, here we go. If the private companies are efficient, what's the problem with the government companies? They are the opposite. Exactly. The opposite. Right? Makes sense, no? So because you, Daniel, you are afraid to lose your money to create your own mall, big mall, Imagine to create a big mall. You have already Central Festival here, you have Maya Mall, and you have Airport, the Central Plaza. You have three. So if you create a fourth mall, but you put it's located in a place where there is no people, or it's quite small, on the restaurants inside they are not interesting, people won't go to your mall, Daniel. They will go to Maya, or they will go to Central Festival. And then after 1 year, you will have to close because there is not enough people to pay the cost of supporting the business. You will lose money, you will go bankrupt, you will be on the street, being a homeless guy. So this pressure makes you to do something good. It makes you think, right? You will take into consideration where to put it, and you will be sure that this is going to work. So it makes you efficient. Government has not this fear. They are not afraid. What is the worst can happen if the government open a mall and it does not work? They close, and it's paid by the taxes paid by you guys. So it's not. They don't have the same stress when they want to build something. It's supported by when they support. So they are inefficient. They can allow themselves to produce something which is not highly demanded or desired, or they can sell bad quality products because they don't have this incentive to make something as you guys, your president. So risk of high cost spoil of resources. What else? Delays. So let's put it in a practice or pragmatic example in real life. We talk about airport. What does it mean that an airport is financed by the government, not by a Chinese rich guy coming to Shanghai, not by a Russian oligarch who is run out from Russia with a lot of money to wash? No, but the government. The government will implement the first airport, or the second, or the third. So if we talk about, guys, this is question. If we talk about the government paying the airport, how will you translate this into an airport? What does it mean, for example, how will be an airport where there is a risk of high cost? No, better yet. What does it mean high cost in an airport? How will you be that? Kevin, what does it mean risk of high cost in an airport? If it's financed by the government. Example. Pali? Kevin, I want you to pay attention. No speaking today, okay? No. Okay. Me? What does it mean risk of high cost? The cost of flight? It's very easy, guys. It's because you don't understand. I mean, it's obvious, right? If we are talking about high cost, what is the cost in an airport? What do you pay money for in an airport? Yeah, so if it's very high, the cost is very high, people don't go, obviously. So if the government it's efficient to resources, maybe the government put an airport in a place very far from the city. So Marco, if you want to take a flight, you have to go 1 hour away. You won't go there. You will take the airport which is next to here. That's when government is not good to do it, but it could be private person. But private person will be much more careful since they have much more to lose than government. What else? They don't have low-cost flights companies. Air Asia, no Air, Ryanair in Europe. All these are very cheap flights there. So the government doesn't allow these companies to operate in their airport. So they lose clients. 70% of people flying, they go low cost. Restaurants are very expensive. Very difficult to get there. So that's the problem with this government down. Usually, when government makes products and services, they are not as good quality as those one do for private companies. Because government doesn't have to face strong competition. And usually government plays an important role on those sectors where the competition is low. A spoil of resources. If your mom wants to open an airport, you know that you cannot be 15 years, right, building an airport. Because in 15 years you die of hungerness. You put the money and you spend 15 years because we take it easy. The only person who can take it easy when he builds an airport is someone who has a lot of money and nothing to lose. Really. Mom will make sure that he invests the money in the airport, he talks with the construction company, he makes an agreement with the architect, with the flight companies, and he wants to deadlines. So in 1 year time, the airport is ready. If not, it's money you lose, Mom. If it's 2 years, it's 1 year you are not getting any income from the airport. Let's say that you get a budget, the airport will be in 1 year, and the construction company comes and it does it in 5 years. So you lose 4 years of money. But for you it's important, Mom, because you are not the company, you are just one person. You have money, but you are not immensely rich and wealthy. The government is different. The government is financed not with its own money. It's just a middleman, let's say, between the taxpayer and the society. So the government gets money from the taxpayers. So if the government goes 1 year, go up to 5 years, the construction of the airport is okay. It's not that bad. So the government can allow himself a spoil of resources. But what is the cost for society? If the government takes 5 years instead of 1, it's 4 years that people cannot take airports from a certain place. They have to wait. Always the things are late, delays. So when the government produces, it means mostly because they don't have a high field of expertise on this field, because it's not their own money, but taxpayers' money, and they have almost an unlimited amount of resources. They are more prompt. It's much more likely that government is not going to be good or efficient. It's not going to be good quality and low cost. That's the risk. Risk of high cost, spoil of resources, and delays. Delays means late. So that's the problem with the government. Now, what was the disadvantage with the private companies? Mom, do you remember? When we talk about private finance companies, what was the disadvantage? One of them. Look. In your notes. Where are your notes? Okay, tell me, what is the disadvantage? No. Again, I repeat the question. It's private finance, company finance. Just 5 minutes ago, we make advantages and disadvantages. What it was, the disadvantage for private expenditure? What it was for private-owned companies? And the last one? Guys, social cost. You remember when we talk about externalities? Like private cost, social cost, private benefit, social benefit. So, if it was a disadvantage for the private companies, how will play an advantage for the government? Use your brain. So we saw, okay, say it?
Government will want social benefit.
That's the advantage. Yeah, well done. Before, the problem with the companies owned by people, by entrepreneurs, by firms, is they mind their own interest. That's all. They don't really analyze the social cost unless the government they are behind or chasing them. So usually they look for their own benefit, and secondarily for the sake of the society. So that's why there are today companies like Coca-Cola or Burger King, McDonald's. They don't care if the people is obese. Well, they care secondary. What they care is to sell burgers to people, right? What if this is a government? They say no. We doesn't have to look just for the benefit, but the benefit for the whole society. So, when it's government who takes care of the companies created, they are going to look not just private benefit, the money they are going to get, but they are going to get that it's widely spread by population, people can access. It's a price that can be paid for you guys. They're going to see that it's not something which is going to harm your health. So if it's, for example, a restaurant, they are not going to create a restaurant which is just offers in the school. School restaurants. You have restaurant here? No? Some schools, they have restaurants. So they will prefer to pay more money, but get good quality food, because it's for you guys, for young people. But if maybe it's not, let's say you have a school, this is a good example. The school can choose between two restaurants. We can hire a restaurant which is owned by me, by Ramon, who just cares about making money and sell hamburgers and fast food. Or government can say, rather than go to Ramon, we pay to the restaurant, a chain of restaurants which is owned by the government, let's say, in a hypothetical situation. So if they go to me, I will just sell food to the school, but what I'm going to do is I want to make money, right? So the school give me money, and then I have to sell food. I'm going to choose that food which is relatively low cost and give me a lot of money. So maybe I will use bread, because bread is cheap and it makes you full. So when you eat a piece of bread, you don't need anymore else. So I use cheap products, not very healthy, not very fulfilling, maybe bad for your kidneys, but it makes you full and it makes me get rich. Because if I start to buy vegetables, biological food, organic food, water from a certain source which is not polluted, just because you are a young guy, no, I would say no. Why? I will get this is cheaper, so I get more benefit. Maybe you go to the state restaurant, the state doesn't care too much about making money, because it's paid with the taxpayers, by the money coming from the taxpayers. So what is going to care mostly is to get good quality products. So the restaurant of the government will not give you Burger King every day. They will give you maybe lentils. They will give you beans, a lot of fruits, because it's good for you guys. Because they consider the social cost. They look for the social benefit, not just the private benefit. If I'm a restaurant, like Burger King, I want to make money, so cheap hamburger, I don't care quality, but I get a lot of benefit margin out of that. If it's owned by companies, not always, depends how corrupt is the government, it depends also on manufacturers, but in theory, it will look not so much for the benefit, but also in society, what is the opinion of what they are doing. So if I'm the government and I start poisoning people, children, the society will go against me, against the government. The society will look, okay, the government restaurant has to feed our children healthy. So I will look to feed you in a healthy way. Do you understand? The advantage here, important. Consideration of social cost rather than private benefit. They are not pursuing competition. When it's the government, he's not looking to be the best, to take away the people, which is the competition. The government doesn't care because they have enough resources. They can increase the taxes, they have influence in the investments, in the banks. The government usually take the money and they use it. If they need more money, they will take it. I mean, not unlimited, but it's much better than a person who goes with a private person, has many resources as the government, which is everyone. For this, the government is going to take into consideration which is called CBA, cost benefit analysis. The government is going to do that. This means cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis. The government is going to see the cost, not just the private cost, the social cost. Benefit. A private investor will see just for private benefit. The government say no, private benefit plus social benefit. And we'll compare both measures and we'll see what is in regard to society's sake or welfare. So takes into account A, private cost and benefit. B, so if it's taking into account private cost, what is the next year? Daniel? I have just said it. Guys, Rachel, what do I have to write here? Well done. I've just said the government is going to look for social, Daniel. Government social. Government is going to look for the social benefit, social cost. Okay. Private company, no government, private. One person is going to look just this, okay? Just this. Private, just me, myself, money I make, that's it. Government is saying, no, I cannot look just myself. Because I risk that maybe in the next elections I lose. Or manifestations. Or bad press. Or intellectuals going against me. I lose the elections because people is not happy with what I'm doing. If I make a hospital and the hospital is crap, is dirty, is bad, the society, people is going to look the hospital, they are going to blame the government. So government has to care about you guys because you are those who elected the government. So they're going to vote for social. So when we talk about airports, the private cost or benefit would be, the cost will be what? The cost of the land. The cost of the building material, the cost of the workers, that will be private cost. And the benefit will be the money taken from the flight companies to operate in their airport, just as an entrepreneur. What will be the social cost, guys, here before? Social cost in an airport, or social benefit. Is it ready time?